Jason Rzucidlo reporting inside the Hockeytown Cafe for a special Detroit Red Wings meeting of the Detroit Sports Broadcasters Association. Stay tuned for remarks from Chris Chelios, Jim Neal, and Ryan Martin, right here on AmericaJR.com. To know some of your thoughts as we're heading into the playoffs.
Well, I think Jim Neal touched on the consistency. You know, when we're at our best, I don't think there's too many teams that are better. We just got to hope we can hit our stride at the right time and show that, you know, when we do play at our best, we're a very tough team to beat.
Now, there's some certain teams you would like to face in the playoffs, maybe something you might be worried about.
No, I mean, you never want to pick who you're going to play, come back and bite you. But, you know, you always mention about the travel. Obviously, travel, you know, could be an issue. The last time we won the Cup, we had a great travel. And then the year, prior to that in 2002, it wasn't that great travel. So you just want to continue on and advance into the next round.
In terms of the injuries, you think it was good to maybe have some of them in the regular season so that will be well for the playoffs?
Well, I mean, every team has to deal with those now. It's just, it seems like every team goes through injuries at some point in the season. You look at Pittsburgh losing Malkin and Crosby for the almost a third. So, we just lost Hank. We looked like we were going to be really healthy coming into the playoffs, and, Cromwell and Hank went down. So, it's all part of it. It's like survival of the fittest. The good thing is we've got that depth. We've got, I think, 10 guys over 10 goals this year. So it's not like we rely on one or two guys. Some guys will just have to pick it up a little bit.
And who would you like to be inducted into the Hall of Fame alongside?
Oh, I don't know. I never think about that. When it happens, I'll worry about that, or if it happens. So thank you.
Thank you.
I think you got two guys that shoot right-handed. Two-part question. One is why so many left-handers are just happened that way, and I'm starting to see more and more in the league of that. The other thing is you don't have a goal scorer. I don't think, according to this morning's paper, over 30 goals on the team. I think Franson is the top at 28, and 5 of them came in one game. Does that concern you?
First of all, the left shots, that's, when we go out scouting and looking for the players, we want the best players, and it's happened that majority of our players are left-hand shots, and I don't know any other reason. It's Cheli.
I'm righty.
He's a righty and I'm a righty, but they don't want to sign either one of us. So that's the way it goes. But and it's just the way it is. We got a great, we got a highly skilled team, a lot of great players, and it just happens that they're left-hand shots. When you're building a team, you really don't go in saying, we need to have 10 lefties, 10 righties for this and that. In the end, you need to have the best players. And that's kind of the biggest part. The second part of your question?
Goal scorers.
Goal scorers, yeah. We have a very balanced attack, and there's only so much ice time. And you look at some of these other teams that have 30 goal scorers. You look at Ovechkin, some of these players, Corey Perry. Corey Perry's on the ice for probably almost 30 minutes a night sometimes. Whereas we have a balanced attack where Franson, Zetterberg, Datsuk, Bertuzzi, these guys, the ice time is spread out. Yuri Hudler. There's only so much ice time, there's only so much power play time, and we max that out, and it's just tough for one guy to have the maximum ice time that he needs to become a 30-goal scorer. It's tough. And the good thing is, that's a plus for us because it shows you got a balanced team. Some of these teams, if one or two of their key players get injured, they're done for the season. That's it. They're going to be in trouble. And as we've seen this season, we had a lot of injuries, a lot of players out, but our team kept on going, and it's important to have that depth.
My dad was born in Canada, so my brothers and I were told it was a mortal sin if you didn't hate the Montreal Canadiens, the Toronto teams. And, a conversation came up at Open Hills the other day around the table of wisdom, which about 20 guys belong to, and every guy thinks it was named after him. But the argument was that since Illich brought the Russians into the NHL, there has been, from an executive point of view, a management point of view, an anti-Red Wing bias, and that there are a lot of bad calls made by the Canadians who dominate the referees. Any chance that is possible?
I'll answer it and then pass it on. Wrong guy, yeah. We were just talking about that coming over a little bit about the referee, so I don't know if I should give it to Cheli. I'll give it to Ryan. But, I think a big part of it is, we talked about the 20 years in the playoffs, and we've been very successful. We've done a lot of winning here, And as much as the people in Detroit love winning, everybody likes to see winners go down. And so I think whenever there's something happen, everybody gets that mindset, you know, the Detroit people that are against the Red Wings, but we've had so much success that I think people everywhere else are just looking for us to kind of take a tumble, and that's probably been one of our driving forces, that we're not taking a tumble. We want to stay on the top, and I think that's what's pushed our organization more than anything else. So to say there's a bias, I don't think it's there, but I think there's a lot of people that like, as much as we like to see good things happen in the world, people like to see good things go down sometimes too.
Well, if what you say is true, then wouldn't most of the Canadian referees feel the same way, that it's about time to let these tumble?
I don't think referees really go into a game thinking that. Like I say, we were talking about that coming over, and referees, I think if you pull up newspaper articles going back to the 40s and 50s, nobody's like referees, and we never will. And that's just kind of, I think it's part of our sport and part of our business. I'm going to hand this over now to my right here, and see what his comments are.
First thing he said on the way over, his manager was not really allowed to discuss things publicly about the refereeing, so whatever's said here better stay here. So I got this whole conspiracy theory about what's going on, and it doesn't even go to the referees, to be honest with you. It all starts at the top, and everybody knows how I feel against, I won't even say his name, the guy at the top. So you said it, but no, like I said, just, you know, I'll compare it to basketball, I guess, and this is, I can say about basketball because it's got nothing to do with our sport. You know, ultimately, I can justify anything here, but I look back to the Michael Jordan, you know, anybody, you guys are Pistons fans. And it really changed against the Pistons there when the Pistons beat the hell out of Michael those first couple of years and physically just abused him, and he couldn't play his game. And somewhere along the line, I think David Stern stepped on and said, look, this guy is going to be the guy who's going to carry the league somewhat like a Sidney Crosby or a Steve Yzerman. And the supervisors, I would believe, are the go-but. Can I keep going here, Jim?
Next question, please.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll keep it short anyway. Like I said, it starts at the top, and everybody wants it to be competitive. You talk about not having the same team on top. They talk about parity amongst the league, which we definitely have now. You know, it's good for the league, not my opinion, because I thought the Red Wings and 5 other teams carried the NHL 10 years ago, and we were selling out buildings. And there's 2 ways to look at it. So the parity is great because now you're looking at this playoff race, and you know, if it helps the attendance and the fans to support their teams, so be it. I don't know the numbers. Ryan would know the numbers, so I'm not a numbers guy, but it starts at the top, and these supervisors are told, you know, in Michael Jordan's case, you know, they're playing Michael too tight. You know, it's a 3-1. The series is 3-1 in the playoffs, and all of a sudden the Bulls are up. Well, the next day the supervisors are being told, you're letting them, you know, Michael get away with too much. Well, before you know it, you know, no one's got any fouls and they're letting them play. So I think it's monitored, and you know, I just think, I'm not going to say fixed. I won't say fixed. I just say it's watched a lot more closely, and I think because we're a sport that, you know, you see calls, you're wondering, you know, how can they make that call? But at the end of the day, when you talk about our games in Detroit, it seems like if they do even up the calls, which is usually the case, it hurts our team more because we've been playing that freewheeling game longer than anybody, the skilled game. And when they don't call penalties, I think it hurts our team the worst because our special teams, especially our power play, and the way things are now, that wins games for you. And you know, if you force a team to take 5 or 6 penalties like we usually can, you know, you're going to be behind the 8 ball, and we're going to beat you.
Of course, that's the longest yes answer in my life.
I try not to beat around the bush as much as I can, but I think you get the picture. But like I said, I don't really blame the referees as much as they're just being told what to do. And the fact that there's 2 referees as opposed to what there was 20 years ago. You know, the referees never seemed to be an issue 20 years ago. There was one guy you played, and you know, with 2 referees, you know, they both got to get involved most of the time. And you know, I think they're just doing what they're told. That's the bottom line. Good boss or what?
You're fired.
Got a restaurant.
Spoken from his heart.